Hello students, this is Sunita Mishra. So as you know that we are studying the chapter Matter in Our Surroundings, and as I told you in my previous class about the properties of the matter, that is the solid, liquid and gas. Now today I am going to tell you that what is the cause of the different properties of the solid, liquid and gases. That means why solid, liquid and gases have different properties. So we know that matter exists in all the three states, and what are those? Those are solid, liquid and gases. And we know that all these matters, these are made up of the very small particles which are known as the atoms and molecules. Now according to the kinetic theory of the matter, the particles of the matter are in continuous motion. That means they possesses kinetic energy. Whenever something is in motion, that means they possesses a kinetic energy. Now some forces of attraction also exist between the particles of the matter. So when there is some forces between the particles of the matter, then these forces are known as intermolecular or intramolecular forces of attraction. Then the forces of attraction tend to hold the particles together and it control the movement of the particles. Okay, this intramolecular force of attraction of the particles will be maximum in the solid and it will minimum in the liquid and very less in the gases. Now I will tell you that there are some spaces between the particles of the matter, and what we call those spaces these spaces are known as intramolecular spaces. So the spaces are known as intramolecular spaces and the forces between the particles are known as intramolecular forces. Now on the basis of that, we can say that the following properties of a particle decide whether a given substance will exist as a solid or a liquid or a gas. Now suppose what will happen if the spaces between the particles, that will determine that whether a matter is a solid or a liquid or a gas. So the spaces between the particles are minimum in solids and it is little more in liquids and it is maximum in gases. Okay, so these are the spaces or intramolecular spaces. Then we come to the force of attraction. The force of attraction between the particles, this also determines that whether it is a solid, liquid or gas. So we see that the force of attraction between the particles are strongest in solids. Why? Because the molecules are very closely packed to each other. They are very less loosely, not very loosely attached to each other. They are very less gap between them. Okay, and it is less strong in liquids and it is negligible in the gases. Okay, then the amount of the movement of the particles or kinetic energy of the particles, that means that depends on the movement of the particles, that also determine the property of a matter. So the movement of the particles is minimum in solids. Why? Again for the same reason, because the particles are very tightly packed, and it will be more in liquids and maximum in gases. Okay, so that is the reason that why solid, liquid and gases have different properties. Now I will tell you one more term, that is diffusion. So first I am going to tell you what is the definition of the diffusion. So the spreading out and mixing of a substance with another substance due to the motion of its particle. Okay, when one substance mixed with the other substance, then that mixing is known as a diffusion, and this will continues when both the substances will get a uniform mixture. Okay, both the concentration of both the mixtures will be uniform. Up to then the diffusion will be carrying out. Now diffusion is a property of matter which is based on the motion or movement of its particles. Diffusion occurs in gases, liquids and solids. That means in all the three states diffusion takes place. But diffusion is fastest in gases and slowest in solid. Why? Because the particles in gases move very rapidly, because the particles are not very tightly packed with each other. They have very less intramolecular forces of attraction. They have very in less they are very large intramolecular spaces. That's why they move rapidly. Okay. Now the rate of diffusion increases on increasing the temperature. If you are going to increase the temperature, the rate of diffusion will also increase. So why? Because when the temperature of a substance is increased, then its particle gain kinetic energy and move more rapidly. And this is increase in the speed of the particle of the substance, and in this way the rate of diffusion also increase. So this phenomena of the diffusion tells us that the particles of the matter are constantly moving. So up to this I will tell you in my next class.